Welcome to the Requel Pitch. This is going to be a different kind of episode. This is going to talk about, it's not exactly folklore or classic literature, but it is at the same time. We're going to talk about a little bit of properties that keep getting rebooted and changed over and over, but we don't really have that definitive version. And how I'd like to see a good version done. So many times are we plagued with, oh, we're going to do this kind of take on the character or whatever, and you're just like, man, I just want a version that feels true. First up, Robin Hood. We have an array of Robin Hood films to pick from, but when you hear Robin Hood, what do you think of? There was the one that could have been really good with Russell Crowe that was not that great. There was the one that came out a little bit ago with Taron Egerton and Jamie Foxx that tried to make, I think, Robin Hood more of like a superhero action than just the vigilante type person he is. He's such a character archetype that we've lost the thrill of the character. I mean, there's the Kevin Costner one, the Mel Brooks one, just more recent. Though I like the BBC TV series from the early aughts. But what would it take to make a really good Robin Hood film? And it makes you question going back to the source material and really seeing who Robin was and what the times were. And I think these type of characters can still work. They're archetypes. And I would like to see, because so many times there are characters that come in and out. You know, the sheriff versus Prince John and Guy. Characters that kind of have been truncated or amalgamized, that what really is left of the story, but to make a really good Robin Hood. What would you want to see in a Robin Hood film? You know, I am a big fan of the Disney version with the Fox. So there are so many different takes on the Robin Hood. It's time we go back and mine the original and just try to do it for what it is. Okay? Now, next idea. This one's a little different. And I like pitching movies, but sometimes I'm pitching series. And this is a series. D'Artagnan. That's what I would call it. Let's do a short kind of series, 3 episodes, maybe 4, that tells the Three Musketeers. And then we have a transitional episode that lays down, and then we tell the Man in the Iron Mask. Because we don't have a one-to-one kind of comparison where we do the Three Musketeers and then the Man in the Iron Mask with the same cast. It's always a different D'Artagnan or a different story. And what would happen if we were able to do something in the vein of, even if we kind of maybe change our actor, but we're still in the same world, still the same crew, you know, in the series, we watch our character grow, and we have, you know, flashbacks with the younger version, or, you know, makeup helps to make someone look older and younger too. We find the right actor to pull it off, and we tell the kind of the full story of D'Artagnan. I was on Hulu the other day, and there's another version of the Three Musketeers, and it's just a story that people love that keeps getting redone. And the Man in the Iron Mask does not get the attention that it deserves, and it is the follow-up of the Musketeers. And I think if you could do it as one epic story, it would be really, really good. And instead of doing it as a 2-film, I think like 8-episode series to call it D'Artagnan, with 4 episodes for the Musketeers, 4 episodes for the Man in the Iron Mask, would be the most efficient way of bringing this story home. The next, another property that's been done a gajillion times that we still don't have our definitive version, King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. Do you get mystical? Do you go serious? Do you go ultra serious like they did with the one with Clive Owen, where he's Artorias, and we had Keira Knightley as, you know, some village maiden person, um, as Guinevere. What do we do with King Arthur and how it is a story and it is a legend? I think, once again, this pitch is called Knights of the Round Table, with the first episode being kind of your Sword in the Stone. Your second is your older Arthur. Your next is like a Lancelot, then Gawain, and you have your adventures of your other knights. And their last episode is kind of the end of King Arthur, and you hit a little bit of the mystical stuff, but also you frame it in someone reading the stories and telling and like researching it, and you have like ways that it could be mystical or it could not be. I mean, I think back when they did the Hercules, they did a Hercules that was supposed to be more supernatural, mythological, with that dude who was in Twilight, Kellen Lutz, I think was his name. And it was okay. It was okay. I think it was directed by Rennie Harlan. And then they did the one with Dwayne Johnson, which was based off a graphic novel, and it was very much just a dude, and they proved how his great feats and everything were just kind of exaggerated tales. But even Hercules himself, like a story, because Hercules, his story is so intertwined with Heracles, which is Greek and Romans. They mix match and it gets altered and changed that we don't even have a definitive version of that Greek tale. And these are our classic heroes of literature and folklore and mythology. And we don't have versions of these that we can hold up as, hey, this is the pure, true form of this story. And I think that's what's missing. I mean, I know that we tried, to bring back Tarzan, did not work. The Spirit did not work. John Carter of Mars did not work, because those were all the pulp stories that led to comic book and superheroes. And people weren't reconnecting with those type of characters. Even in the 90s, we had the Shadow and the Phantom. And now, if you were trying to do the Shadow or the Phantom, nobody would know what you're even talking about, because those characters have really fallen out of grace. So, what are some traditional characters that we think that we could bring back? Now, this is an episode that's about you as the listening audience, kind of giving your feedback to pitch with and discuss, because it is a difficult task to constantly reboot these widely known characters, and these almost, like, I think most of them, for the most part, that's redundant, is in public domain, and they build a great foundation. But what could we do? What could we do? Leave some comments. Let's talk about it as a group, okay?